The hosts feel it would be a little unkind to present this podcast without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold the story of Frankenstein, a man of science who sought to create a man after his own image without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest tales ever told. It deals with the two great mysteries of creation, life and death. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now's your chance to. Well, we've warned you.
Hello, and welcome once again to the Frankencast. I'm the mad scientist, Anthony Bowman. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm joined as always by...
The money shot that is Eric Velasquez. My pronouns are also he, him. Yep. This one's full of them. Have I done that before? I feel like I may have said that one time before. I don't know.
Probably not on the main feed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so as we promised,
Leena.
Happy Valentine's Day. We're going to talk about some porn here on the main feed.
Oh, we're talking about love, baby.
Yeah, so I thought that this would be a fun one to be the first time to do this. So I kind of teased this last week that I had a funny story about this. So like the first time that I saw this movie, Leena Meets Frankenstein, this is from 1993. I was doing a lot of traveling for work at the time, and it was like I'd be out in like rural Kentucky for like a couple nights, and so I would just like fill my computer with like there's no streaming, so just fill my computer with a bunch of like weird movies. I found this like website that like just found just like collected a bunch of like obscure old movies that you could download.
Yeah, that you acquired by paying for, right?
Right, yeah. So like I went there, I searched Frankenstein, I downloaded every Frankenstein movie I could find on there. And so one of the nights I was just, alone in my hotel room and way out in East Kentucky somewhere. And I was like, all right, let's watch Leena Meets Frankenstein. And like, I got pretty far into it before I was like, this is a porn. I'm watching a porn movie. I thought I was watching a Frankenstein movie, but I guess I'm
with
just
the
sitting.
setup. With the setup that didn't ring for you, did it? I love you, buddy. That's awesome. Did you at least have your headphones in?
Hopefully.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, we I think you kind of like alluded to that. Like we were thinking this was a little more softcore than it is.
Yeah.
It looks softcore. Like it just looks bad. So I did some research, as you do, because I feel like, research. I'm kind of fascinated by like the golden age of porn. Like there's a couple like, movie restoration companies that are releasing all these like, porn films from like the 60s and 70s and everything.
Right.
And there's like, these ones that had like stories and like production value and stuff. There's something really interesting about this strange moment in history.
Right.
So I've seen a lot of those. And I obviously have seen my share of like porn from recent years.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen a lot from like the late 80s, early 90s. I was at an age where like that was not available to me when those were coming out. Right. And I was like, why does this look awful? So I did research, and so here's some porn history for you real quick.
Let's hear it. Porn history.
So, in the late 80s, early 90s, this was like when we had like the video boom in like genre movies. Like you had a lot of like...
Right.
Regional directors like in like Milwaukee and Mississippi with like a video camera filming their friends making shitty horror movies in the woods, and these would get like small little distribution deals and stuff, and like they were charming because it was like, here's just some weird like horror nerds like me out in the woods doing something fun with their friends, and like
right.
It doesn't look great, but it looks like they're having a good time, and they've got a weird story because they're trying something different, and that's compelling and fun.
Yeah.
And we often, when we talk about super low budget movies now, like there's the dichotomy of like, did they make it because they love horror, or did they make it because they thought they could make a bunch of money by doing something super cheap?
Right.
And whereas the genre people were doing it because they loved the genre, porn companies were also like, oh wait, this is way cheaper than film. We can just get a video camera, go to a hotel room, shoot a whole movie in an afternoon, and make bank on it. So that's why the lighting is bad and why it just doesn't look great. It's shot with a video camera. But also, this is the very end of the time that like they were really trying to do stories. Like, this one we have a story.
Until we get the return of the Pirates of the Caribbean, and then that became a thing.
Yeah. But like, this is the very beginning. Like, I actually looked up the AVN awards from this year, from 1994, like the year that would have covered this. And like, you still had some movies that had like titles and plots, like, but you started seeing movies, like I think one of the ones that won us several awards was called Butt Slammers 2. So we're getting those kind of movies where it's like, we're not having a plot anymore. We're just going to have like 5 scenes of people having sex with no interstitial dialogue. Nobody's going to memorize lines. We don't need actors anymore. We can just get people who don't care about fucking in front of a camera. That's all we need.
Have sex in front of a camera.
Yeah. So this movie is kind of like a dinosaur that like it's on the video, like it's shot on video. It looks bad, but it's still trying to have a story. And so it's definitely this weird like transitional movie. There's just a few from like probably like 92 to 94 that were like this. And right here in the middle.
These stories weren't good by any means.
No, this
was a pizza guy showing up being like, hey, do you want extra sausage?
Yeah, exactly. Like there are some like classics from the 70s that have like whole stories, real acting, and they just occasionally have sex scenes that are real. But yeah, a
couple of them have Sly Stallone in there if you want to look for those.
Yep, absolutely, yeah. But this one, it's on the cusp. There's a story here. There's a lot of sex scenes, but the story, the story
definitely takes backseat to the sex scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, I think that's all the trivia I had, unless you've got anything before we get into it.
Nope. I think we're good, because let's rubber up and dive into this thing. All right, so we're going to start off with Leena and Nicole, or Nikki. They are walking down the road, and they go to the old Dracula place. This is a Rocky Horror setup.
Yeah, I think we've had several of these lately, like... it's a very common setup, the House of the Wolfman that we just did like last week, like same basic thing, like car broke down, rain, we need to go, like that whole thing.
Right.
But, of course the door is answered by like just Dracula. Like he's in a fucking cape. Like it is Dracula answering the door.
But no, wait, he's Count Alucard. And I love how they just call it like these girls are horror fans, and you can't tell me otherwise, because they immediately go, "That's just Dracula backwards," and he's like, "Never noticed that."
Yeah, but he's like, "I don't have a phone, but you can stay the night," and they're like, "Okay, we'll stay and leave in the morning." But right away, they are like accosted by a guy in the hallway who's panicking. He's like, "You should run! You should get out of here! It's a full moon tonight. Things are gonna go bad."
But it's too late because I'm wolfing out.
But then a woman comes and grabs him and is like, "Come on, let's go back to your room." And so she's like, or does she? She's or like once.
Well, he chases Nikki and Leena around the like little courtyard for a little bit. But yes, the Romani. We're gonna call her Romani. She calls herself something else.
Yeah.
She pulls him in and is like, "Hey, baby, we just got to chill till Van Helsing gets here."
Yeah, we just got to.
And then she starts rubbing his belly.
Yeah, I really like that. That was a good touch.
That's a funny touch, but that leads to rubbing more things.
Yeah, and she's like, he starts sort of like it looks like he's gonna like wolf out, and she's like, no, stay like this. I don't want to have to take another flea bath.
Fair.
So then we see outside, Dracula catches up to Leena and Nikki and says, and they're like, "Oh, we just remembered we have a thing to get to. You remember the thing? Yeah, we got to get to that." And he's like,
"Yeah,
no, you're gonna have to stay the night. You've seen too much. I need you to stick around at least until tomorrow."
Right, and with the Frankenstein monster chilling in the corner.
Yeah. So
like that one creepy guy. No,
so then we go back inside where we see the Wolfman in human form and the Romani girl, and And we didn't mention that, like, this movie starts with a warning that's like, oh, you're don't adjust your TV. It's going to be black and white and grainy sometimes, and it usually is. But when we get to the sex scenes, we go to full color. Yeah. We don't want to, we just watched Frankenstein, which was all black and white. But this, when it comes to the sex, we're not going to waste it. We gotta do it in full color so you can see everything.
As I mentioned earlier, we're going for the full money shot.
Yeah. But all the same, again, this looks softcore. Like, it's shot with, like, soft focus lenses. It does not look like a hardcore film.
Until it gets hardcore.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, like, full penetration. Everything is on display. But, like, the tone, like, the style, the visual style looks... Like, and it even, like, it doesn't... It's not even focusing on the right stuff. Like, it's either, like, a long shot where you can't see much or, like, a close-up that's, like...
too much.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they know what they're doing at all, which maybe like lends itself to being like maybe these are people who wanted to kind of make a wacky horror movie with porn and they don't really know how to do the porn part.
But Leena's kind of a big name in porn, right?
Yeah, she I mean, she goes just by Leena. That's her name, and yeah, she is a porn star from the time. She's in quite a few movies. But I don't know if the people making it in the background were sloppy or what, because it's listed as a L.S. Talbot production, so we don't really like it's obviously not Larry Talbot for real, but yeah, so we get our first actual porn scene, and it's the human form Wolfman, the Romani girl, and I think when we get to like the end of the scene, and it's pretty unremarkable. There's nothing particularly worth talking about during the sex scene, I don't think.
Well, aside from you learn how good the Wolfman is at licking things. And also how good the Romani woman is at licking things.
Yeah.
They both went to the same school.
Yeah, and they really kind of like play that up. Like he does like dog lapping, it's a little silly. But when we get back to it, like, we get like fake VCR effects and it like tracking and stuff, and then it goes back to black and white at the end.
Yeah, good.
We just have everybody sitting down to dinner. This is, I mean, like beat for beat. Like we always get this. Like they show up, they get taken to their room, something kind of weird happens, then we get everybody back together at dinner. It's always the same. That Monster Mash movie we watched forever ago, Rocky Horror. It's always this scene. And so this time we have Dracula already has
a Don Glut movie with something like that happening, right?
Yeah. I do feel like one of the segments in the Tales of Frankenstein was like that as well. So we have Dracula. He's got 3 brides who are all kind of sniping at each other. 2 of them don't really speak English very well.
Yeah, one named Betty, and I don't know the name of the other 2, like Annette and something else. Maybe?
Yeah. And I did notice, so like we find out that the Wolfman's last name is Abbott, but at least once somebody does accidentally call him Talbot also.
Which one was the goof?
Yeah.
Which one?
I think it's supposed to be Abbott. I think that's what it says in the credits. But obviously they were just trying to like, not actually call him Talbot.
Right. But they all knew where this was going.
Yeah.
And they're horror fans, like we mentioned, so.
Yeah. So while they're all sitting down, Abbott does just Alucard, like, calls him Dracula in front of the girls. So, I mean, like, they already knew, but now it's all on the table. And Dracula's like, I know you're trying to put a stop to my plans. I know you're not here to help me, but your friend Van Helsing cannot stop me. I'm gonna use Victor Frankenstein's plans, and I'm gonna release an army of demons. I'm gonna take over the world.
Right. 4 generations of Van Helsings have tried to stop me, and they've all failed.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Leena and Nikki are just like, they're not engaging. They're just having dinner. And one of them is like, this salad is not doing it for me. I could really go for a steak. And Dracula's like, like, he doesn't like that word. And she's like, okay, yeah, I get it. No need to get cross. And he's like, again, it's like, okay, I get it.
All
okay, right.
This is getting tiring now, buddy.
Yeah, this stuff, like, they're having fun with this. I appreciate this kind of stuff. Like, if you're going to do a porn parody, do the parody. Have fun.
Yeah.
So at that point, Dracula's like, you're still under my control, Abbott, so I want you to go check on the monster, make sure everything's ready for my grand plan.
Right. Other wives, take care of Leena, or else.
Yeah, and he's like, Nicole, you come with me. I have to show you something.
Special plans for you.
Yeah. And at first, Leena, like, she kind of starts insulting Dracula, and she's like, you cold, lifeless, you so-and-so. Like, she just runs out of, like, complaints, and she's like, okay, fine, I'll
guys,
sit here.
hop in here. Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah, so everybody leaves, and we've just got Leena and the 3 vampire brides, and the scene goes into full color again, so we know what's going to happen.
Where do they get those strap-ons, Anthony?
Yeah, I mean,
where did those come
instantly,
from?
there's no setup here. Suddenly, the vampire brides, I think 2 of them have strap-ons, and then Leena and the other vampire bride, they're receiving the strap-ons, so we get that for a little while.
If you're an Ash Nico fan, this is an all-girl party. If you get that reference.
And it's got a classic, like, late 80s, early 90s, like, saxophone porn soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we had the 70s, you had, like, the wah-wah guitar thing that everybody knows, but, like, in this time period, it was all about that smooth sax. And we had that going.
Can't have smooth sex unless you have a smooth sax, Anthony. Fucking. I'm sorry. All right.
So eventually we get to the end of that scene, and we go back to black and white. We have Nicole talking to Dracula, and she's like, "This is a really nice place. How can you afford this? Like, what do what do you do for a living?" And he's like, it's just a timeshare, actually. I share it with Dr. Jekyll." And she's like, "Oh, that's a pretty good deal."
Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, it's an okay deal, except every time Mr. Hyde comes out, he trashes the place." So,
that's a great line. That's so good.
Yeah. And so the reason he's brought her aside is he likes her more than Leena, and he'd like to invite her to be his next bride. And she's like, "You've already got like 3. What do you need another one for?"
Right.
And he's like, "No, but I promise. This is it's a great deal for you. You can have eternal life and powers, including animal shape-shifting. You can turn into whatever animal you want." And she's like,
"Bullshit." She's like, "Show me."
Yeah.
Turn into a bat.
Yeah, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, I can turn into a bat." Yeah, she just keeps going back and forth. A bat, a wolf, a bat, a wolf.
A bat, a wolf, okay. A bat, a wolf.
And he's like, "Okay, sure." And she can't settle. And then finally, there's a puff of smoke, and he's just like a dog, just like a little yappy domestic dog. And it's like, I guess
didn't
that's
quite make it to wolf.
You call that a creature of the night?
Shit, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, the cross between bat and wolf is little fluffy dog, I guess. And
I feel like there's more steps. But yeah.
But she thinks it's funny, and he's like, "Oh no, I forgot how to turn back from this one." And so she leaves while he's still trapped as a dog, bumps into Leena in the hallway.
Right.
And then,
Leena somehow escaped the brides. I guess she satisfied them.
Yeah. So they're
she
going to try
searches Nikki for a hickey.
Yeah, and she seems fine, so she's like, "Okay, you've not turned into a vampire." So they're going to try to escape, but then they crash into somebody else, someone new we've not seen before. This is Van Helsing.
Not any Van Helsing, Steve Van Helsing. Just such a dude name from the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, and he's like a kind of a Chad, like he's like wearing like a fraternity sweatshirt. But he's
also trying to be a nerd because he has glasses. That was the thing for then. Yeah, if you have glasses, you're a nerd.
Yeah. So he's like, "If you help me, we could put a stop to Dracula's evil plans tonight."
Please, Dracula must be destroyed. Otherwise, the whole world's going to be overcome with dark forces. Vampires, werewolves, zombies, Elvis impersonators, talk show hosts.
And they're like, "Okay, yeah, you know what you're doing." Well, and he's like, "Well, I mean, I kind of know what I'm doing." And they're like, "How many jobs have you done before this?" And he's like, Counting this one? Like, this is your first job.
Oh, shit. Right.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I really need your help, because I don't want to fuck this up. The first thing we need to do, Leena, you go find Frankenstein and coax him upstairs, whatever it takes. And she's like, I don't know how to coax a monster. And he's like, I mean, you're a hot lady. Like, you could figure it out, right? And she's like,
yeah, figure it out.
Okay, fine. So she goes down the stairs, heads back outside.
Right. Nikki, come with me.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Steve
Lena's
says.
complaining. She's like, "What did you do on your vacation?" Like having this conversation with her friends later. Oh, I just fought Dracula and the Wolfman and the Frankenstein. The usual.
Yeah,
and-
I mean that's a hell of a story to tell. You did a Belmont.
Yeah. So she ends up, getting to the little dungeon area where Frankenstein is, and right away she just takes her top off to coax him to chase
Right.
her up the stairs.
It works. I mean,
Yeah. And when they get upstairs, there's Nicole, but she is like now in like a little gauzy nightgown.
yeah, she's dressed as the bride.
Yeah. Lena's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Apparently I'm the spitting image of Frankie's old flame." And then,
And
just
he's like, oh,
yeah, he gets the same joke as the steak thing. He doesn't like flame.
yeah. Okay, girlfriend then.
Yeah, so she's like, "So I'm supposed to keep Frank busy while you and Steve go stop Dracula."
Right, and she's like, I do kind of like him big and stupid, so
And,
this is the one.
Yeah, and Lena's like, "Should I help? Should I stay here with you?" And Frank's like, "No, you go. You stay."
You stay.
Like the end of
Yeah,
Bride
I love
Frankenstein.
it.
Yeah.
You go. You stay.
Good luck.
Thanks, you too. I think.
So we go back to color, and we have Nicole and Frankenstein. And this Frankenstein is not much of a Frankenstein. Like, he is just a tall guy with like one scar
a dude.
drawn on his face. Like, they didn't really do anything to make him look like a Frankenstein.
They put all the budget into Dracula and his puff of smoke.
Yeah. And so then we go to Steve, who is facing off against, or like we see Steve close up, and he's giving like a hero speech, like, this is your last warning, Dracula. I'm gonna put a stop to you.
Your plan to overcome the world with your army of darkness is finished. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name's Steve Van Helsing, and I've got you exactly where I want you.
And then we zoom
Got
out
you right where I want you.
Yeah, and then we see he's actually tied to a chair, and Dracula's standing right next to him.
Right, but he's not tied up alone. He's tied up with Larry Abbott and his wife.
Yeah. So Dracula's like, I'm going to unite the forces of evil. I'm going to take over the world. I'm going to make the Abbotts permanent werewolves, and then they will be under my control. And then I'm going to torture you for all time. And Steve's
Life
like,
of eternal suffering.
yeah, I don't like this plan. And then, so Dracula leaves. Now he's got everybody tied up. And while he's gone, Leena sneaks in, and she's like, "All right, I'll get you all untied. We can still save the day." And they're like, No. There's not even enough time for you to untie us. Okay, sure. But you got to go.
Go take care of Dracula.
Yeah. The source of all of his power is the amulet around his neck. So if you could just get that amulet away from him, that'll solve everything.
Yep. She does.
Yep. So she runs in, and he's beginning his ritual. She's doing, so she like tries to pull a seduction.
Well, she's like, hey, you know what? I rethought the bride thing. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's make that happen.
And she does a good job. She's like, I bet you've got 3 wives, but I bet none of them really understand you. They don't appreciate what you're doing. Like, it's such a shame. Like, you just really deserve a wife who gets you.
Why, and I bet your wives don't understand you.
And he's like, yeah, that's
Right,
true. I really am misunderstood.
Hey, Anthony, why is all the color coming back onto my screen? Oh, no.
Yep. So, yeah, back in color, we have Dracula still wearing his cape, but...
And boxer shorts.
Yeah, he's wearing the standard, cartoon character joke boxer shorts, just plain white,
the hearts.
real big, with red polka dots.
Oh, no, those are hearts.
Oh, are they hearts? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so, but of course, this isn't a cartoon. This is the color part of this porn film, so... She's going down on him while he's standing there in his cape and boxers, and the whole time she keeps trying to reach over and take the necklace from him. And so we had the sex scene with her with the brides earlier, but this is the first full heterosexual kind of sex scene with her, and she is we said this is Leena. She's famous. She is a porn star. She's weird. I found this sex scene very off-putting. She's saying all this dirty talk in a weird baby voice.
I want to get these panties off. Get them off.
and the dirty talk is weird. Like, I mean, if I was watching this for porn reasons, I would have found this her talk very distracting.
Yeah, we're gonna fast forward through this one.
Like she says it like,
You stuck your cock right in there. Yeah, you did.
it's just weird. It's really weird.
Right. Whereas the other ones, she was like, yeah, okay, well, you know, not really even talking.
Yeah.
She was just going to town.
I think the one line that I really did think was hilarious is there's a part where she's like, if I keep doing this and you keep doing that, I'm gonna come. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the point. That's what we do in porn. That's
yeah,
how-
yeah.
If I keep doing this and you keep doing that, I'm gonna come. Yeah.
That,
I mean,
that's the
I feel
end goal.
like you could say, yeah, maybe Leena just doesn't care about Dracula.
Yeah.
Maybe that actor wasn't doing it for her.
But so eventually, of course, they do get there, and then we go back to black and white, post-coital.
Right, but they're cuddling.
Yeah.
She's actually cuddling with Dracula.
And Dracula's like, that sex was so good, I don't even want to be evil anymore. I'm just happy now. You fixed me.
Right.
I just-
Boy, that's not a healthy image.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
He's like, I feel an urge to just bring kindness and joy into the world. And she's like, yeah, it really sounds like you're just turning over a new leaf. This is the start of a new life, and I'm really excited to just be here with you as you go through this new transition.
Let's get some light in this room.
Yep.
Throws open the curtain.
And as soon as the sunlight bursts into the room, he's like,
Oh, shit.
and she's like,
Oops.
and he just like, starts shaking all crazy and then just turns into a skeleton.
Yeah. And then poof again.
Yeah.
So good.
So then we see a little later, back in color again, we have Steve talking to Leena, and he's like, how did you defeat Dracula? I just wanted you to get the amulet. I could have taken it from there. And she's like,
Right.
I'm just good. No, you don't need to know the details.
Right, yeah.
And he's like, well, if you're that good, like, we should just work together. Like, you could just be a monster hunter with me. And she's like, yeah, maybe
And she's
so.
down for that.
Yeah, and so, of course, we're in color, so we know what happens next. They also have sex.
They create another generation of Van Helsing.
Yeah. So that goes on a little while, and then we go back to black and white.
So this one wasn't as weird.
Yeah, I don't know, like, maybe this was her way of, like, enticing Dracula. I don't know. That one was just a very bizarre scene.
But don't. Either that or the director was feeling weird that day. Let's just say that.
Yeah. But eventually we go back to black and white, and we have Nicole and Frankenstein coming in, and Lena's like, are you ready to leave? We could finish up our vacation. And Nicole's like,
Yeah, about that. I'm just going to stick around here for a while
yeah,
with Frankie.
Yeah, me and Frank, we're getting close. I think I'm just going to hang out. And she's like, maybe Steve will want to go on vacation with you. And he's like, I don't know, maybe, where are you going? And she's like, someplace nice and tropical after all this dark and stormy nights.
I've never been there, but I heard it's nice. Have you ever heard of the Black Lagoon?
Hey,
And like when she
sequel
says,
bait that'll never come.
yeah. As soon as she says
Well,
it, like,
or it might.
Steve like looks straight into the camera and does like a Jim from The Office face, basically,
Yeah.
and then we just go to credits.
And we get, I appreciate that we get the actors like doing their scenes.
Yeah, it's like a
very
classic
up to
sort
time.
of comedy thing to it reminds, or like the end of Chopping Mall. That's always the one I think.
I was going
of.
to say Predator, but yeah,
Yeah,
Chopping Mall. too.
Predator is a classic one as well. Yeah, it's a silly, fun 80s, 90s thing. But yeah, it felt appropriate for this movie for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, we talked about that. That was a thing.
Yeah. So, thanks. I know last week we kind of broke the seal and did porn on the main feed or a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm hopefully you all enjoyed that. I know it's a little weird, but
Hey, listen, it's a season of love.
yeah. And there's a lot of like the like full on parody stuff that we'll probably keep doing over on Patreon. But every now and then we get these ones that are a little more cinematic. They probably played in some theaters and stuff, and This one seemed more appropriate for the main feed. So hopefully you all had fun with that. And happy Valentine's Day. However you're choosing to celebrate.
And with whoever and whatever you're choosing to celebrate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough, Anthony. All right. So, so how about next week? We're having the time of love right now. You know what comes after the love?
What's that?
Flies, if you're doing it wrong. So next week we're going to check out The Fly.
Yeah. So we kind of mentioned, we were talking about The Fly a lot when we did our episode on The Substance a couple weeks ago. And then several of you on Twitter were like, hey, if The Substance is a Frankenstein movie, then The Fly totally is. And it is. It's been on our list forever. But since it kind of came up a few times, it was like, maybe time to do that. So, yeah, join us next week. We're going to be talking about the 1958, the original Vincent Price, The Fly. And then we'll see where we go from there.
We'll see. All right, where can they find us, Anthony?
So you can find us on all the socials at the Frankencast. I know the social media landscape's a mess, but wherever you are, you can probably find us there. If you found some new great one that we don't know about, hit us up. We'll meet you over there. But I think we're all the main ones. We're on them all at the Frankencast. We're also.
I feel like they're like Pokemon cards now. We're just collecting all of them.
Yeah. I have several that I've not logged into in a while just because nobody's there, but. However it shakes out, you can find us there. We're also on YouTube. We're also, you can email us at thefrankencast@gmail.com. And you can always find us at patreon.com/thefrankencast, where you can reach out to us there too. There's messaging and stuff on there. But also you get a bonus episode every week. There's plenty of material there, over I think well over 100 episodes at this point. Huge
you
backlog.
Thought this one was weird. We get weird with it.
Yeah, there's some real wacky stuff over there. So if you enjoy these kind of off the beaten path things, there's lots more where this came from.
Absolutely. All right. Well, anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, then, to be continued.
Looks like you survived another episode. The Frankencast is a production of FCR Media. It's hosted by Anthony Bowman and Eric Velasquez. Follow us on Twitter at The Frankencast, or send us a letter at thefrankencast@gmail.com. Our cover art is by Amanda Keller. You can find her at Keller Illustrations on Instagram. Our theme music is by Vivek Abhishek. Thanks for listening.